option. Malcheski, 2 goals that he'll never forget, and they're home all right. They've done it. What a team. That culture, the Bloods, that's what it's all about.
Hello, I'm Luke Darcy. Welcome to Access All Areas, brought to you by OPSN. The Sydney Swans are the champions of 2012. Damien Barrett is with me, and a very deserving premiers in season 2012, Sydney.
They would. I sometimes had been thinking that this culture of the Bloods had been a little bit overcooked and overplayed by people on the outside. But when results like that occur against the odds, and it was against the odds, there must be something very real and very powerful to it. And it obviously exists.
Hey, Damo, we'll delve into all the footy news and player movements very shortly, but every grand final has its heroes and its big moments that determine a grand final win, and Sydney had plenty of those on Saturday afternoon. This is the one for me. It's the Leo Barry from 2005. He is just an absolute jet, Dan Hanbury, and the courage he showed was, to me, just about the key moment of the game.
What do you make of this one too, Daz? Look at the scores, really tight stage of the game. Mitch Morton doing something that I think not many would have expected to do, and resulting in a goal there to Kieran Jack, which, as we can see there, levelled the scores.
Play his first game round 21, Mitch Morton. Who would have thought that he was going to stand up? Kicked 2 goals in about a minute and a half at one stage in the second quarter.
Yep.
Jack gets the goal. Young fell over. He won't want to see that one again, but incredible. And this mark here, Richards had his hands full all day with Buddy. Had no possessions of the first quarter. Buddy had 10.
Good lurking here, Daz. You just knew he was going to get that ball somehow.
Well, here he's got a torn posterior cruciate ligament. That defies logic that he can stay on the ground and play the way that he did.
And then Nick Malcheski doing as he did at the start of the game, kicking an unlikely goal, but the one that sealed it for the Swans. Just moments that will never, ever be forgotten by people close to that footy club.
Heroes everywhere. There's John Longmire still with a couple of, about half a minute to go. Get back. But I think my favourite moment just about of the game was, and you sort of hoped it might have happened, and it did, when Lewis Jetta took the footy, looks over his shoulder, as he does, just to check who's around. It's Rioli. OK, this might be the time that I get run down.
Brown does.
Nah, and you know that Rioli knows exactly how big this is as well. And the other thing, I want to get another replay of this. There was a moment there where he actually did just put the turbo booster on and draw away. Rioli didn't give up the chase. It was great to see.
Again, and something needed to happen here for the Swans, didn't it? I mean, the score, it didn't look drastic, but the Hawthorn was dominating. They were missing goals they should have kicked. But that was the point you just mentioned there, wasn't it, Darcy? Where he just took that sidestep and went again. But no, this resulted in a Swans goal, and from that moment, they were back.
And you forget, just on the siren, Hawthorn had a shot to kick one that went through. It was 1 second afterwards. They were 25 points up if that had gone through at quarter time. And 30 points up, you probably just about can't see Sydney getting back. But going into some of the play from Sydney, we don't really talk enough, I think, about just how hard and how competitive they are. They had 110 tackles in the game. This is all in the last quarter, Damo, and really big moments. Jetta, not, I suppose, renowned for being someone who smashes in hard at the contest, but he stood up big time in that particular moment.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it's just a little tap dance in the context of a footy game, but for him to do it, and Hanbury, again, have the composure to put that ball through. I thought, for what it's worth, he was the BOG. Johnson here, Das, smothering Sewell's kick late in the game. Again, Hawthorn holding a 6-point lead there. McVeigh, similar stage of the game. McVeigh there smothering that kick. Just real tough stuff. Goods collecting Buddy late in the game. They just didn't stop, did they?
Particularly when you got a torn PCL to be able to do that. And this was a massive play. Look, a minute and a half to go, 4 points down. That kick that went out to Birchall, if it had hit him on the chest, he turns onto his left foot. Marty Mackner's one of the most proficient tacklers in the game. He just made sure that Birchall didn't get through and came up with the big play there with, as I said, less than 2 minutes to go in the grand final.
On numbers, Hawthorn's performance didn't look too bad. In fact, we'll take a look at some of them. They won a lot of the key stat stars. So you put that up on most games throughout the year. They're going to win that game, Hawthorn, aren't they?
Absolutely. Inside 50s. 18 is a big differential.
Just on that, Das, it's the third grand final, though, since 08, where there's been a big differential of inside 50. The losing team on that stat winning the game. Yeah,
and I think it comes down, and what these stats don't tell you, clearance is a massive break. Centre breaks was just incredible. What a domination that is from the centre, 14-0. Scoring shots. But what happens in grand finals more often than not is who seizes the key moments moments in the game, who takes their opportunities, who kicks the goal that you've got to kick at the right time. And for Hawthorn, that is their regret. They'll look back, I think, and apart from tackles where Sydney were incredible, they won every other key moment apart from just getting the key moments done.
All right, on that point, Buddy Franklin, how much responsibility does he need to take for what happened? 3 goals for and 1 on the full. I thought he was second best on ground, by the way, so I'm not, isolating him here, but he could arguably say he cost him the game by missing those goals early days.
Well, there's about 400 moments in a game, and did someone else lay a bump at the right time?
When you lose a grand final, though, Das, by 2 goals,
I don't think
you
you'd
look
be
at moments
leveling
like
the
this.
blame on Buddy Franklin, Damo. Out of all the things you've done this year,
what about Sam Mitchell? Did he have a good game, Das?
Look, he didn't, and I think he'll probably look back on his grand final with some regret and disappointment. Sensational year.
Yep.
Was the best player in the prelim final by a mile. Ryan O'Keefe went to him. Great match-up for Sydney. O'Keefe wins the Norm Smith medal. Mitchell ends up with a bit of footy in the end, 24 possessions, but not the sort of impact
Not
you would hope.
impactful.
No.
Cyril Rioli chasing Jetta there, that might have knocked it out of him. He was not good, Das.
He just didn't quite fire the way that you would hope he would have in a big grand final. He's just so dangerous. You didn't see him, have those one-on-one wins where it set up a goal. And credit to Nick Smith, his old Scotch College schoolmate, who was incredibly disciplined and did it really well.
I mean, some people have been saying that the problem for Hawthorn was it was their bottom 6 or bottom 10 compared with the Swans, bottom 6 or bottom 10. But these are the big names, Das. So I'll keep going. Jared Roughhead, he had a poor month leading into the game.
Look, we've been overly critical here, Dave. Lost the game by 10 points. They won all the key areas.
You need to ask questions, Das. They've lost the game, they were favoured to win and had been favoured to win since effectively before the season started.
Absolutely, you're right. I mean, Jared Roughhead's probably month in the finals. Coming back from an Achilles tendon injury, I thought it was a sensational return.
That's
the hardest injury
to
come back from a grand final. I know you're going down the negative path.
Grant Birchall.
And All-Australian this year probably didn't have... look, I looked at the game pre-game and thought, if the Swans don't mark it inside 50, it'll be Birchall running it out of half-back, and you'll see that scoring link and chain set up from defensive 50, and that just didn't happen as much as we saw right throughout the year. So they are fair questions, and don't worry about it. All those people you mentioned, they'll be sitting back. They won't sleep for the next year thinking about, buddy, did I kick that one extra goal? Maybe we did it. Mitchell, could I have maybe got myself involved more? Birch, all those players, they're the right questions to ask, but we're talking about splitting hairs a little bit.
Okay. Hey, Mike Pike, Brian Taylor has said he shouldn't be playing football, let alone in grand finals, and there was a doubt over him. Was he going to be replaced given the conditions that were forecast? But Das, a career high 16 touches, and not just the 16 touches, but he played with a presence, didn't he?
He was sensational, Dale. Nothing sort of... I love that. Smashed it, Hale over, stood up, laid a tackle, and he was going clunk. Big frame, dishing off, playing within his limitations. It's a great credit to the Sydney organisation that he could have lobbed it 17 of the other 18 clubs and never been seen again. It was a high risk, almost a gimmick when he first came into the competition.
You were slow to embrace him too, weren't you, Dave?
Far from it. I love the international players coming through, and I think for him to adapt and to play in a grand final was just sensational. I saw Richard Collins just after the siren, the president of Sydney, said, "Tell your mate Brian Taylor to go jam it." Mike Pike was sensational, and credit to him. It was a bit of fun from BT, but Mike Pike was absolutely sensational. I want to ask you now, Damo, turn the tables on you. It's time we start talking about player movement. There's already a lot going on. Free agency for the first time in AFL history. Where are the key names going? Let me start with Brendan Goddard. I understand he's got a 4-year deal from Essendon.
From the Bombers, it will be a 4-year deal. It'll be money that's greater than what the St Kilda club has offered him. It's going to be, I think, tabled, almost certainly tabled to St Kilda. And as we know, under free agency, they've got 3 days, 72 hours to respond. They have said all the way through, Das, they will be not budging on their 3-year deal of about $600,000 a year to Brendan Goddard. If they do change, it's a massive change in what they've said. So Essendon's looking almost certain now.
OK, Brendan Goddard to the Bombers. You're hearing it first here. Quentin Lynch strongly linked to Collingwood, from what I understand, Damo.
Yeah, don't rule out Carlton also making a play for him. His management has certainly spoken to Collingwood. There's been a bit of interest from Carlton. Collingwood does want him. They want him to play that Lee Brown type role, and now that they've secured or resecured Travis Cloke, they want him in there as well. But Carlton, I expect to make a play there as well. Strong
mail that Collingwood, if not over the line, not far over the line, not far from it. Kurt Tippett, he's been speculated about all year. Will he move?
All indications to me have been for some time now. It's going to be a South East Queensland club, one of the two of them. I always thought it might have been Brisbane Lions. I'm now hearing strongly that it's the Gold Coast Suns. But the fact he hasn't said he's staying at Adelaide Das, I think he's out.
Brett Maloney put his hand up early in the piece and he has wanted out of Melbourne. That will happen. Who are showing interest in Maloney?
He wants a finals team. I'm not hearing finals teams just yet. This can evolve. He's got 2 weeks to sort this out. He'll get picked up. I'm just not sure it's going to be someone who's played in the last 2 or 3 weeks of finals, though.
Sharon Willingham, he might be the one that tumbles out of Collingwood after they sign Travis Cloke and maybe get Lynch. Is he going to find a home somewhere else?
Yeah, the strong talk now is it's West Coast, not even Fremantle, but just straight West Coast. He's got Perth origins. We'll miss Buddy, won't he, if he was to leave? They seem to be inseparable socially. But
they live together.
Yeah,
they're housemates.
Melbourne will also try and get themselves involved in that with him, but Perth looking likely now, given that he hasn't accepted the offer that's been in front of him now for some time, and there's not much room to move from a Collingwood perspective.
Dom Tyson, a young Melbourne boy who is a star of the future with the Greater Western Sydney Giants. Richmond are trying to make a play for him. Is that going to happen?
Yeah, pretty sure he's contracted, so already for next year. It doesn't mean he can't move. He's not a free agent, obviously, but yeah, there's a fair bit to play out with Dom Tyson and a few of those other younger GWS players.
I heard Gubby Allen quoted today saying, and not going to happen under no circumstances, rule it out. But,
they love him, but I'm not sure he's totally settled there.
Troy Chaplin, 26-year-old key defender from Port Adelaide, always valuable. Is he going to move?
Richmond looking likely, yet not as likely as the other player we'll talk about soon, Chris Knights. Chris Knights is a done deal effectively, as much as we can say in this time of this week. But yeah, Chaplin, I expect him to be following Knights to Richmond.
I've heard a lot about Josh Caddy, who's moved home from the Gold Coast Suns. Out of contract, not a free agent. What can we expect from him?
As much as you can tell, and still a bit to play out, it's down to Geelong and North Melbourne, as the Boak one was had he decided to leave. But that seems to be the latest mail on that. He did have a good tour of the Arden Street offices or headquarters last week at North, and they're reasonably confident.
Damo, the Port Adelaide coaching job, have you got some news there?
Just keen to see what Leon Cameron does now that he can finally have the interview that he hasn't been able to have. Your formal, official, let's really thrash it out interview, and once that's happened, we'll know more. But I don't think you can lock him in until he has that full-on interview, because we've seen interviews in the past couple of years go really awry for the leading candidates. Outstanding work from you, Damo, as it has been all throughout season 2012. We thank you for watching Access All Areas right across the season. Although we're wrapping it up today, afl.com.au certainly isn't. There will be loads of content, news and video right throughout the off-season, especially over the coming weeks with all the trade period and the draft, as Damien Barrett just told you. So make sure you click back onto the site for all of that. As we say goodbye, let's go out with the Swans celebrating their magnificent achievement in season 2012.